it's Karen and
Bluto!
Here for Karen and Bluto's not another review channel.
Yep.
Another movie review for you guys.
I'm back 100%.
Yep. I've been making sure to cook.
Yeah, I had stink bug soup.
Ugh.
You know how you do that? A bowl of stink bugs, some mustard, and mayonnaise, and put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes. Have some of that and you're good to go.
Follow Bluto for more recipes.
Cool. I'll have my own recipe channel. All right, what are we doing?
All right. We are actually doing a little bit of well, I shouldn't say a little bit. We are doing an action flick.
Go. I forget which one.
Rambo Last Blood. Rated R. It was out in the fall of 2019.
I like this.
The version we watched was 90 minutes.
Because you told me to watch that one.
Yeah, because it was just right at the top because it's on Amazon Prime right now. And then here later when we were looking through, there was an extended version that was an hour and 41.
I wish I would have checked. I watched it on my own.
Yeah, so my bad.
Yep.
But
I like this.
I had actually rented this because Bob wanted to see it and he had watched it, but I hadn't seen it. So it kind of I'm going to say it kind of picks up where the last one left off because
hopefully you all saw that one.
If you saw the last one, he's like walking down the road to this farm and this is where he's been living for like 10 years, I think, at this point. It's a woman and her niece that live there. Apparently, he somehow knew the family, so they kind of took him in as
they adopted him.
Yeah, basically as one of his as part of their family. They are Hispanic, which I think in that culture it tends to be a little bit that way. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but anyways, it's kind of showing John getting ready for the day, and then he does some horse training. There's a girl he refers to as his niece. Her name's Gabby. She just
all right.
graduated high school.
She don't listen.
Yeah, she's going to be going off to college. So
next.
Later it shows John, I guess he built all these underground tunnels under the farm.
That's where we'll be. Under the farm. Yeah. Not above it.
So he's kind of going through checking things to make sure they're sturdy, not going to collapse. And he kind of starts having a flashback to Vietnam a little bit. I
think.
So later it shows Gabby and John riding horses together. They're talking about how it's going to be different once she goes to college.
They show him the cowboy hat.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It looks funny.
And what she's going to, and she's like, I don't even know, I'm going to college and I don't even know what I want to do.
Like you.
Yeah, I went to college and I still don't know what I want to do. So
I didn't go to college.
She's talking about going over to her one friend's for a party, and John's like, well, why don't you bring him over here? And she's like, no offense, Uncle John, but the last time I had him over, you kept staring at the guys and it really freaked them out. And he goes, well, I'm just observing. So he goes, well, bring him over. You can show him the tunnels. And she's like, you don't let anybody see the tunnels. So he's just trying to be like, yeah, bring him over. Let him see the tunnels. So he's sitting at the house watching them from a distance, talking to her aunt. Well, Gabby gets a friend while they're down there. She's with, I guess, her boyfriend. She gets this call from her friend Giselle, I think is her name.
Giselle.
Something like that.
I thought that was an animal.
Gazelle.
Oh!
This is Giselle. Gazelle's an animal.
Oh.
And she gets a call and she gets real concerned. We don't know what the call's about or anything. So she eventually talks to John after the party and is like, Giselle, who moved to Mexico, back to Mexico, was a friend of hers, found her dad, and she wants to go talk to him to kind of find out why he abandoned her and her mom. Her mom's dead now, too, from cancer, I believe I gathered in there.
I don't remember.
They basically argue over because John goes, he's not a good man. He didn't want you. I guess he was very abusive towards her mother. Like John, I guess, broke up some fights with them.
When Rambo listens, you need to.
Right. And he
talks, you need to listen.
Yeah. And basically she's
like,
I'll be safe. And he's just going on like, as long as he's around, nobody was going to hurt her.
No way. I want Rambo on my side.
And then he also asked her to kind of wait and think about it a little bit first. So the next day, Gabby and her aunt are arguing because she told her aunt about wanting to go, and John goes, "I thought you were going to wait." She goes, "Well, I thought about it all night, and I need to know." So eventually, this is where it comes out about John protecting her from her father, so on and so forth. So Gabby basically says, "Okay, I'm not going to go. I'm going to visit my friend Antonia, I think it is." Well,
Oh,
en route to this friend, she turns around and goes to Mexico.
wow. That's bad.
Surprise, surprise. I think she's only like 17 still at this point. I don't even think she's 18 because they kept saying about her being 17, I believe, throughout the
Well,
movie.
that makes it more impactful.
She actually finds where her friend Giselle lives in Mexico, and they're sitting there, and she's living in this like closet size apartment. Her friend's going on about um, how it's rough and everything there, and she's kind of eyeing up some things that Gabby has on her. Like she has this gold bracelet that I believe was her mother's, and she's like eyeing up everything Gabby has, and she doesn't.
Don't trust anyone.
So they go to where her father lives. Gabby goes in on her own, knocks on the door. Some woman answers. She asks for Manuel, I believe his name is. He comes and basically says he wasn't ever expecting to see her, basically. And how did she find him? And she was saying, well, I looked, and he goes, yeah, you look like your mom. You always had a good head on your shoulders. And basically, she asked him why he left. And basically, he tells her the truth that he one day looked at her and her mother and realized he didn't want them. So that was it.
Well, at least she was honest.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
this is what,
Hey,
her aunt and
that's what she
John
wanted.
have been telling her all along, like, he didn't want you.
When Rambo speaks, you better listen. Remember that.
Yep. So she goes outside upset. Giselle's like, okay, you're not driving back home tonight. You're going to stay at my place, but first we're going to go somewhere. So they go to this
Sure.
club, and they meet up with some of other Giselle's friends. This random guy starts hitting on Gabby. He eventually roofies her drink.
Something like that.
And basically drugs her. The next day, we're back at the farm. John comes into the house. Gabby's aunt's like, she never came home. Apparently, this Giselle called to say that she came down to Mexico, went and saw,
Mexico.
yeah, I'm making it
Yeah.
cool now. Mexico to look for her father, and she hasn't seen her. So John got all the information. And basically, what it comes down to is Gabby was taken into sex trafficking and basically set up by her friend.
What a nice friend. I'm glad I have friends like
So
that.
John gets to Mexico. He arrives at her father's.
His,
And
her, his
yeah,
what?
Gabby's father. And he's basically like, he's not that, she's not there. I'm getting my pronouns mixed up today. And they kind of have words. And I think John kind of threatens him, like, if he finds out he hurt her, like, you're going to pay, basically. So then he shows up at Giselle's, and
I think it's funny when
apparently
you say that.
this aunt too did not like this Giselle, said she was a bad influence, and was actually happy when she moved away. So
There.
um,
Listen to your aunt.
she denies Gabby being there, knowing where she is, but she has Gabby's bracelet, and her and John are kind of talking, and she basically says that Gabby gave her the bracelet, and he said something along the lines like that was her. I think it's her mother's bracelet. I'm not 100% sure, but he
Yep.
basically said
Her
she
mother
would
gave it to her.
she would never give it to anybody, and kind of threatens her with a big ass knife in the table.
Hey,
So she
you don't mess with Rambo.
agrees. She kind of tells him like, okay, this is what happened, and she was basically taken into sex trafficking, and so John makes not Gabby, Giselle take um, him to the club. Um, she initially refuses to help because she's like, I need to live here. Are you dancing now? Or are you acting like you're in the
In the
club?
club.
In the club, the disco.
No.
Um,
I hate disco.
John basically threatened her again, like, if you don't help me, you're in trouble either way, basically. So John has an inner monologue at one point after oh my god, because they both have the same name, the initial. Giselle points out the guy that took Gabby the night before, and there's this woman at the bar kind of observing John.
Yep.
Well, the guy that took Gabby leaves with one girl to go out to the parking lot, so John
This part's
follows.
cool.
The girl from the bar follows. It's like big old parade out.
That's a good part.
We're
not by the truck.
Basically, this guy's trying to make out with this girl in his truck. John basically pulls him off of her, tells her to basically take a hike. Starts beating up the guy because he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, he actually does he shoot him in the leg or stab him in the leg? I can't remember. And then
I think he stabs him.
Breaks his skin here and actually pulls his collarbone out. And it was like, oh God.
That was cool.
And he eventually says, okay, I'll show you where she is. So they get in this guy's truck, not Rambo's truck. And the girl that was watching him at the bar follows them as well. So he takes them to where the girls are all being held in the city or whatever.
Or whatever.
John knocks the guy out and goes up to where the girl.
He kills him, doesn't he?
No, he just punched him and said,
I thought he broke his neck.
Oh, I don't know.
Leave a comment if you know. I think he killed him.
I don't know. Have to watch it again and see. And basically he goes up, starts trying to go up to this rooftop place where the girls are being held and there's all these guys doing cocaine. And he gets spotted, and all of a sudden, like, all these guys surround him by the time he gets to the roof. And the two head guys, Victor and Hugo, who are brothers, I can't remember their last name.
Victor and Hugo, those are guys from Chud, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Basically, they beat the shit out of John. Then they search him. They find Gabby's picture.
You're calling him John. Don't call him John. Call him Rambo.
And he asks, well, they're like, who is this?
It's
and
Rambo.
they're looking, they're like, and they're saying in Spanish, oh, this is one of the whores we have upstairs. Well, he reacts, so then they know he understands Spanish because he's actually playing up. Then he gets the shit beat out of him.
Yep.
They're going through him, and they're basically telling John afterwards, because
Rambo.
Hugo is talking to him, and Victor's like, just throw acid on him, kill him, get it over with. And Victor goes, no. Or no, Hugo goes, no, we're going to leave him alive because I want him to look at this picture every day and realize he couldn't save her. So it kind of is, he just wants him to be fully tortured the rest of his life.
You have a chance to get rid of Rambo, you better do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's going to come back on you.
So Hugo tells Victor to do his mark, and basically what he does on their cheek is put a letter V on Rambo's cheek, and then they also do it to Gabby, because that's Victor's.
Why do they put it on her? That would make her unattractive, right?
Well, I guess they're just saying to, like, mark them for life or whatever.
Okay. You say so. Sorry, I lost your
Okay, so anyways, they all leave him alive. Well, the girl from the bar gets out of her car, goes and helps him, and she's like, come on, we got to go. They're going to come back. And then it's basically, her name's Carmen, we find out later. We got to one of the guys grabbing Gabby out of her room and taking her down the hall, and they show her John's license, and they're like, how do you know this guy? And she's just kind of looking. She doesn't say anything. Well, they drug her and also mark her with a V on her one cheek. So we go to John at this Carmen's apartment. There's some guy, I don't know if he's a doctor or what, giving him medical attention, but basically saying, he really should be in the hospital. He has a concussion. He has this. And she's like, I understand. Like, she's just going on, I understand. But she basically knows taking him to the hospital would be a death sentence for him. So
Rambo's been through a lot worse.
Yeah. So basically it kind of has that days just pass. Like, they're showing some things with John. They're showing some things with Gabby. Eventually, and then showing the aunt kind of waiting. So they kind of just show, like, each of them in, like, different scenes with us. So Carmen comes home at one point, and John's, like, up and dressed and ready to go. And he's asking, why did you help me?
Yeah, I'd want to.
And she basically explains that she's an independent journalist who is following these guys. And she has, like, all this stuff up in her apartment. That's what she was saying. The Hernandez brothers, I think I can't remember the last names, and it's Victor and Hugo. And
we get the point. Two bad guys.
He's like, no, really, why are you helping me? And she goes, well, they took my sister and she ended up dying of an overdose 2 years ago. So she kind of wants
that's her motive,
justice for this as well. And he also finds out that he's been passed out for like 4 days.
You want justice? Go to Rambo.
they're talking, and she asks him what is the girl's relationship, and he says she asked him if it's his daughter, and he says yes, which
Oh,
he
yeah.
basically, even though she kind of refers to him as uncle, he always says that she was the daughter he never had. And he basically goes, I need to get her. I need to save her. So I guess somehow this Carmen finds out where Gabby's being held, and it's some building in town that basically the girls are being prostituted out to men who are paying. So John goes to this building, says he's looking for a young girl. Once he gets in there, he like kills everybody, the guys. While he's looking for
That was cool.
Gabby, he's telling the girls to run, and the girls are like, "No,
They're
they're
stupid.
gonna kill me." And it's almost like either
They're
way, you're
dumb.
dead. But I know sometimes
Wow.
they say with people that are in certain situations, they get so brainwashed that they're afraid to escape.
Not me.
So he does
I'd
eventually
leave.
find where Gabby's at, rescues her, sees that she also has a V mark on her face as well. Um, John and Gabby are driving back home. She's shocked that he came back for her, and he's just going on like, you meeting you was like the best thing of my life. It helped, how much she means to him, and she does eventually die,
That works.
which I was kind of like, damn.
Wow.
I was shocked. I thought maybe they wouldn't do that, but
That makes it better. Because that makes it more mad.
so
Sorry.
John doesn't cross the border at the gates, obviously, because
Well,
how would you explain a young girl dead body in your front seat, especially
I don't
leaving
know.
Mexico? So he gets back to the house, lets the aunt know. They end up burying her on the farm. There's a couple other graves there, so I don't know if one's like her mother. I mean, I'm assuming there are
I thought
other.
it was Rambo's parents.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Leave a comment if you know.
I don't know. There's just a couple other graves there. So
That's what I thought.
John's kind of just standing there, and then he goes back to the house. The aunt is packing because she's saying she can't stay there, and he's like, "Go and stay with your sister. There's nothing here for you anymore."
Yeah, you were like, why is she leaving?
Yeah.
Well, duh.
So
The bad guys know where he lives.
she asks what John's going to do, and he goes, I'll go back to moving around like I used to do before I settled here. So she
Nope.
leaves, and basically I marked on here, and I think I made a comment that John kind of goes home alone in overdrive.
That was funny.
Because he takes out this map and starts mapping out like where he's setting up bombs and traps and other things.
Yep.
Because he basically decides he wants to take care of them. So he's like, this ain't done. You took from me, I'm taking from you. So John goes back to Mexico, goes back to Carmen, and
Everybody's funny.
she's kind of like, why are you back here? It's dangerous. If you're caught with me, I'm in danger. And he goes, and he's pointing to the scar of the V. He goes, I need to know who did this because they're going to pay, basically. So she does, I guess, give him the information. He goes back.
He goes and does cool stuff.
He
Come on, get the good part.
he basically goes on that he wants revenge. This is when no, I wrote this down.
All right.
He tells Carmen basically he needs to know because he wants revenge. Death is coming, and he wants them to feel their grief.
Sounds good.
So she
Sounds
lets him know where this Victor is, which is the one that did that to marked him. So he goes to his house, takes out like all his security.
Good security.
What?
Good security.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of going like days of old where he would be like in stealth, taking out these guys.
Yeah, we all know.
We goes to Victor's room, and Victor is in the shower. And
that's funny.
This one asked me, what do you think he did? And I'm like, oh, he cut off his dick. No. So basically the next day, there are police around Victor's house, but like their armed guards are outside, like not letting the police in. And Hugo shows up. They go up to Victor's bedroom, and Victor's headless. John cut off his head, left Gabby's picture there basically to say, come get me.
That was cool.
And you see John leaving, holding the head out the window, and then he throws it.
Wasn't that cool? I like that.
So we kind of have this whole montage scene, I guess, where John's finishing getting ready because he knows they're coming and they're preparing to go. So they eventually get to the farm while John's there. Well,
They're
John's
all going to
like in
buy the
hide.
farm.
Yeah, John's hiding. Well, here he set up like bombs on the property. So when the one car comes by, he hits something, and or no, it goes over something. It blows up basically.
It runs over something like a pedal-looking thing.
Yeah, and then it goes boom.
And then the gas explodes.
So,
right.
Basically, then the guys are all looking for him. They're hitting, he's taking some of them out because of the underground tunnels, he's popping up.
That's cool.
On different parts of the property, so they don't know where he's coming. So eventually, his goal is to get them down in the tunnels, which he does. And basically, I put bloody, bloody mess because, like, there's all these traps. John had set weapons in different areas for him to move into to take some of them out whenever they would be incapacitated and everything. So I didn't write too much in this part because
I like when he blows their heads off.
This one's like, you just have to watch this. And literally, you have to because it's just.
You like when he shoots their heads off?
Yeah, it's total Rambo at this point.
Yeah. Cool.
So, John does get shot a couple times eventually, but then it's just John and this Hugo left, which is he goes, I could have taken you out so many times, but I was waiting. I wanted you.
But he has some special plan for him.
And he goes, you better hurry up because the tunnels are going to explode. And here he set the tunnels.
Follow the light.
To basically implode on themselves, and he gets Hugo to the barn, which is where he wanted him. So Hugo and him are kind of looking around. They were exchanging niceties over the walkie-talkie, and John basically says something along the lines like, you're going to feel my grief, I'm going to rip out your heart.
And you didn't see that coming.
I just kind of on that.
I saw that coming.
Eventually,
I was like, whoa, I hope he does it.
John literally pins him to the side of the barn
with arrows.
With arrows in 4 different spots. And he rips the guy's heart out.
Go, huh? Yes.
So John kind of goes and sits on the porch. He's kind of monologuing at the end of the movie. We get during the credits, we get a like montage of different scenes from the first 4 movies with stuff. And then right before the next set of credits goes, John gets on one of the horses with some flies and rides off into the sunset.
Awesome. I liked it. So, some people don't, but hey, whatever.
I think initially maybe why some people didn't like it. It was so story driven initially, and it was
that was good. Really, it's like you need a reason for him to do this.
It was really only like the last half hour, I would say that.
But that didn't bother me.
The action, but I mean, it had a little bit of a different story, but by
the end of the movie, you want to see that happen,
right? I mean, it's at that point.
If it just happened, you'd be like, "What's going on?"
Because it's like even
in
the 4th Rambo,
that one's cool too.
I mean, I think that one. I think people maybe were expecting because that one was a little more gorier throughout.
Well, I don't want the same movies. They're each different.
I mean,
each one is different.
And I mean, I think too with this, it was kind of like, okay, he's older. I mean, Sylvester Stallone's in his 70s now?
Oh, something like that.
I can't remember. I know
more people die in this than in the first one.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen the first 3. I don't remember them as well because I've seen the last one a little bit more. Well, I've seen it more recently, I guess I should say.
All of them. I don't care. I like them all.
Yeah, and 3. I mean, if you even think about it, the first one is
They're
more drama driven.
Yeah. Each one is different.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, I guess, with this would be it's going back to its roots, and
that was First Blood. This is Last.
Yeah. So I mean, is it truly Last Blood?
Who knows? I'm glad he didn't die though.
Well, that's what I honestly, because I mean, we did a trailer first impression when this came through because we were talking about going to see it, but we never made it, and I don't know if I mentioned it that I thought that he might die, and I am
glad he didn't.
And I actually thought, because when he went onto the porch and he had been shot a couple times, I was bleeding pretty heavily. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're going to kill him.
It'll take a lot more than that to kill Rambo.
And then when they show him going off into the sunset, so it's like, okay, I guess he's still alive then.
I'm glad.
But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. I mean, like I said, you get a lot of story with this. The action, it's more towards the end, and it's kind of interesting to see Rambo get the shit beat out of him by like 20 guys.
But I like it.
He doesn't go like Arnold would in Commando on them. No. Yeah, we need Rambo versus Commando.
Rocky versus Rambo.
That'd be interesting. But anyways, like I said, it's definitely worth a watch.
Yep.
I don't know if I'll watch the extended version when he watches it or not, just to
I'll watch it
see.
sometime.
Just to see what was
I want to see what
added.
those 10 minutes are. Maybe it's 10 minutes of gore.
Who knows? I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't know what else they could add to the story, in all honesty. So I'm thinking it's probably more action stuff that is in the extended version. But if I find out, we'll let you guys
But
know.
I kind of hope this is the end.
Yeah. So
don't make any more, and don't remake this.
Yeah. Which I have a feeling a lot of remakes are going to be coming. But anyways, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know when we post new content. Help share the page. It would be greatly appreciated. What are you looking around for?
Still can't find that bell. Where is it?
Subscribers and watchers, thank you. You guys are awesome. I appreciate all of you. And watchers, please subscribe.
She tries.
Amazon wish list is posted, so if you would like to help us out with something on there, if there's something you want us to watch, let us know in the comments. I know we still got to get to the Poltergeist. We had that request a very, very long time ago, so I think we're going to definitely have to make an effort to get those.
I like 1 and 2.
Rewatched. We actually watched the end of the third one. It was on TV a couple weeks ago, but it was like the last 5 minutes.
I think it was on TV. Like TV, right?
I don't remember.
Oh.
Flipping through the channels and it just happened to be on.
Don't watch stuff on TV.
If there's something you want us to review, let us know in the comments. If I can locate it, great. If not, and you're willing to get it, that would be awesome as well. Check out my other channel, K-Dog Games, Toys and More, toy game reviews, and more over there.
And more.
And more.
Don't forget there's more.
So that's it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.